What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Legit Whiskey Reviews, and today I'll be reviewing Maker's Mark 101. Now, Maker's Mark 101 is was originally released for distillery only. So for a long time, you can only pick it up at the distillery. But a few years ago, they started releasing it as a limited release. And as we all know, with limited releases, limited releases can tend to stay for a long time. So hopefully this one stays around for a while and it doesn't go away. But you never know with limited releases. But for the most part, I've seen a lot of limited releases for different whiskeys that have been around and stayed around for a while. So like I said, this is 101 proof, so 50.5% ABV, and let's get into it. So on the nose, this is a wheated bourbon, like all the other makers, and it definitely comes across on the nose. It's very fruity on the nose, fruity and sweet. So I'm picking up a little bit of an apple note in here, and then I'm picking up a good amount of maple syrup. And besides the maple syrup, there's a little bit of a brown sugar note coming through as well. And there's a good amount of spice coming through. There's also some cinnamon. And there's a decent amount of oak in here as well. This is non-age stated, so I'm not sure what the age statement is or how old the whiskey is, but there's definitely some oak in here, so I'm guessing maybe it's between the 5 to 7 year mark. But it's weird because on the nose so far, this is giving me like winter vibes. Like I'm just getting these the cinnamon, the spice, the maple syrup, the oak, just all these notes that I'm picking up that really make me feel like it's a winter whiskey instead of like summer. It's weird, but I'm getting like winter vibes. But that's good to know for when it's winter time. All right, but it smells really good. It smells really sweet. There's a lot coming through on the nose, but more importantly, let's go to the palate. Cheers. On the palate, it's pretty much the same as the nose. I'm getting a good amount of fruit sweetness in the front. I'm not necessarily getting an apple note, but it's definitely sweet up front. And I am picking up the maple syrup note along with a little bit of that brown sugar sweetness. And there is a good amount of spice here, even though this is a wheater. I mean, I know plenty of wheat whiskeys that you can pick up a good amount of spice, and this is one of them. And I picked up a little bit of oak, but not as much as what came through on the nose. So but there's still some oak coming through. This is definitely like far and away way better than the regular Maker's Mark, because for those of you that know me personally, you know that I'm not a fan at all of the regular Maker's Mark. It's never like agreed with my palate, and it's just one of those whiskeys that I've never taken a liking to, even though it is very popular and a lot of people do like it. But just for me, that regular Makers, I've never been a fan of. But this one definitely is doing it for me. But let's try it again. Yeah, the more you let it sit, the more the sweetness comes out. Like that syrupy, like maple syrup note really like shines through the more you let it sit in here. I feel like the second time your palate acclimates to it, as far, the nose was pretty much the spot on. It was just a little bit sweeter, but as far as the palate, it came through a little bit less sweetness coming through. and I got a little bit more spice, a little bit more oak, and a little bit of a black pepper note came through. If I wouldn't know better, I would say that this is leaning more towards like a rye whiskey, which is really weird, or maybe that's just my palate today. But like I said, this is a wheater, so it's just really weird. But like the vibes that I'm getting again are like winter vibes and like more like a rye type of whiskey. But maybe it's just like something I ate today that's making it come through that way. But before I close out, I wanted to compare it to the Maker's Mark 46. This is a little bit of a lower proof. This one is 47% ABV, 94 proof. And the way they do this one is they age it, they finish it with 10 French oak staves, and then they age it for extra amount of time. But I just wanted to see what the differences are here with the 101 and then with this 46. As you can see, I'm quite a fan of this one. This one is definitely, from what I remember, a very good whiskey. But going back and forth, I just want to see what differences come through. But it's just the regular Makers that I've never been a fan of. But pretty much almost everything else that I've tried from Makers, I've been a fan of, and I've liked. So I'm not sure what it is about the regular Makers. It's probably the proof, I'm guessing, but it just doesn't do it for me. But let's try this one. Wow, this one is like, it seems to be coming through way more fruitier and more of like a candy sweetness instead of that like maple. Yeah, so the 101 is coming through, it's like more syrupy sweetness. But this 46 is coming through like way fruitier, and it's more like, it's sweet as well, but it's more like of a candy sweetness, which is interesting. All right, but let's go to the palate on this one. Yeah, I like that. I like that one too. I'm kind of torn between this one. I really like the proof and the finish on the 101, but I like the flavors in the front of the palate for the 46. So, I would say it just depends what you like or what you prefer. But as far as the finish, I really like the 101. And right now, I would pick probably the 101 over this 46, even though this one is a very, very good whiskey and one that I like to keep around because it's pretty enjoyable, to sip on. But just right now, I just like the finish that the 101 is bringing. So, I'm gonna give this one. Oh, by the way, this one retails for around I want to say like the $35 mark. So it is a little bit pricey especially with all the 101 proof whiskeys out there that are way less and, either as good as this or even better than this. One that comes to mind right away, my favorite is Wild Turkey 101, which I do prefer over this. So, and that one only retails for around $18 to $19 in my area. So it's just one of those whiskeys that, has the proof, has the value, and that's what is the drawback for this one. And that's why I'm giving this one a B- and not a little bit higher, is just because I feel like the price it's just a little bit overpriced. I mean, it's still a very good whiskey. It's enjoyable, but when there's so many other 101 proof whiskeys out there that are as good or even better than this one for way less, it's kind of hard to justify giving it a higher score for me. So I give it a B-, and this was interesting. I like the little subtle differences that these two had. But anyways, if you like my content, remember to hit that like button. Remember to subscribe. You can catch me on Instagram at Legit Whiskey Reviews, and keep it legit and do it for the love of whiskey. Cheers.